See you tomorrow. What's up, guys? So I finished the freaking book. I finished the damn... Where's my letter? That damn book. It was a rough one. It was a really rough one. I'll tell you what. That was like... Okay. So, I stopped yesterday at the part where... First of all, this is like 30 hours of listening time. I ended up having to fast forward it because I got through... This is like the 4th or 5th work day that I've had that I've listened to this book from start to finish. And I work 10-hour days, and I still ain't done with... I'm like, I'm not gonna continue this tomorrow. I'm gonna fast forward it and put it on like 2 times speed and try to listen to the rest of this, because she just... It's well written. I feel like I'm missing out on stuff because it's really good, but it's also like, can we just get through this? Because I can't take it anymore. I'm still going to read the next one. It's worth it, but it's like, all right, so Outlander. So I left it off with the sister and Jamie reuniting. So like, after she does the whole like, I choose you kind of thing, they go to Lollybrook, and that's where his parents are or whatever, where he was raised, and he's inherited it. So that's what he is supposed to be the laird of. And his sister's been running it in his stead with her husband, but he doesn't know that because nobody can communicate in this book. So he shows up, feisty as ever with his new wife, and he sees his sister's pregnant. All right, he was told that Randall raped her. He was told by Dougal that Randall had successfully raped and impregnated his sister, and that she had a consistent relationship with him. So, to be fair, that's what Jamie thought. But normally when somebody is like faced with this, it's like, shut up and listen. Find out what's going on. I don't know. But he just pops off at the mouth and he's like, you know, you're a hooer. And being all like, oh, why'd you name this little bastard after me? Were you trying to punish me for what you did? How? And it's just that whole like, I'm hurt, so I'm gonna lash out at you because I'm hurt. And it's more upsetting to me that you were hurt than whatever, and all this stupid, oh my gosh. There's something selfish about personal suffering. I don't know what it is, but there's something innately selfish about it. It all comes out, she's like, no, I married the love of my life. I love this guy. He's the best guy ever. I never had sex with Randall. He couldn't get it up. I started laughing at him when he couldn't get it up because I need him in the balls. And because I was laughing at him and not screaming from him, he didn't get, because he's a sadist, he didn't get off on anything. So he wasn't able to, he couldn't rape me. And that was part of, like, because he was impotence in the moment, he took it out on Jamie. So, everybody's fine now. And now it's time for everyone to get along. In the movie, they made it even worse. Like, they made her have to, like, sister check Claire and be like, I'm talking to my brother. You know, like, who are you? But in the book, they pretty much get along pretty instantaneously. And there's a bunch of little things that happen, and it doesn't really matter. It's not important. They save a kid from getting beaten by his dad, which is funny. It's funny because Jamie's like, see, now that's where the line is. This kid's getting beaten. I just whooped you with a belt. My daddy just whooped me with a belt. That was fine. But this kid's getting his butt beat, and I can't stand that. And it's like, okay, hypocrite. Alright. Cool. Then, the dad of the kid. So, like, he takes the kid and he makes him a stable boy or something so that he has a consistent life and food and everything without his dad's influence or involvement. And the dad turns him into the Watch. In the movie, they made it out like the sister was paying this mercenary group of Scottish people called the Watchmen to help protect her lands from redcoat invaders and other invaders. But that's not how they handled it in the book, and it doesn't really matter because the end result's the same. Jamie gets caught up. So now Jamie's in, what was it, Wentworth? Yeah, he's in Wentworth prison now, shackled up. And they've decided that he needs to die. And they're like, you know, he's gonna have to hang, whatever. And so Claire's like, I'm gonna go get my man. And she and Jenny, the sister, go out to go and hunt him down. Jenny just had a baby. Jenny's kind of badass. She's sitting there milking herself because her titties are hurting because she just had a baby and all of this, and like, it's wild. But they're able to track him down and like, oh no, my bad. He didn't go to prison yet. He's on the run. He's out in the streets hiding. She can't find him, and she's like, okay, he escaped the Watch people, but we gotta find him. And then, what's the guy's name? Murda? I'm gonna call him Murda. Jenny's like, I'm out. I got a baby to tend to. I'm gonna leave you with Murda, this guy. He's like some kin to me or whatever. And he's gonna help you find Jamie. I'm sorry, I'm being a bad storyteller right now. That's where they start singing the songs to try to lure Jamie to her. And then they were like, Murda's idea was like, you're a healer, that's already gonna make you popular. We're gonna try to make it out like, be the most noisy that you can be, you know? So he was like, you're just gonna have to be as loud as possible. Make everybody notice you so that word gets around. And you're gonna tell fortunes and sing songs, and everybody's gonna find out, oh, the Sassenach. That's what they call the English people, the Sassenachs. Whatever. So he was like, James is gonna find you. So then they meet up with this, they're Romani, but they call him Gypsy, so I'm gonna call him Gypsy. They meet up with this Gypsy troupe, and in the book, they don't make them out to be bad people, they just help them out, and they're like passing messages along for them to get to help her find Jamie. And they tell her where to find the Highlander that's looking for her. In the movie, they do the gypsies dirty. They make them out to be exactly what gypsies are. Like, all of the, not exactly what they are, but what people make them out to be, where, like, everybody hates them and everybody's mean to them and they're, like, dirty and lying and stealing and stuff like that. Like, it's like, why'd y'all have to do that? That's not cool anymore. I don't know. Like, anyway. But she goes to find who she thinks is Jamie, and it's not Jamie, it's Dougal. And he's like, you know, like, hey, I've been looking for you, and I need to let you know that your dude's gonna hang. And she's like, well, let's go get him. And he's like, nah. And she's like, I know why you don't want to go get him. You've been plotting against him all this time. You lied to him about his sister getting raped. And you're probably been setting him up all this time just trying to get him caught up. And he's like, no, he's like a son to me. And she's like, you want his land. And he's like, actually, I meant to talk to you about that. Why don't you marry me when he dies so I can have his land? She's like, nah. And it's just this back and forth. And then she's like, she figures out, you know, she's like, talks about Hamish. She just tells him everything she knows for no reason at all. It's like not even helpful. But then she, I guess, uses Hamish as collateral or something to be like, I know enough that I could ruin your life. Huge, gigantic man that's stronger than me, who I'm alone with. So you need to let me try to recruit your men to help me go get Jamie. And he's like, all right, sure. Woman who tries to ruin my life and who I can kill right now if I wanted to. Like, he let his mistress die. Oh yeah, Galus he let her die, and he took her kid and had him placed in a family, whatever. It's like not even worth mentioning, but it's probably going to come up later. And then she gets his people, and she's like, let's go get Jamie. And then she like comes up with this like really stupid plan to go in, and I swear all of this could have been avoided. They could have just gotten to know the guards and gotten the same amount of information that she got. But instead, she has to do it this way. So she goes like special ops, goes in, and she gets to know, like, she talks like an English lady and gets the trust of the guy that runs the prison. And then it doesn't matter. She goes and finds Jamie. Jamie's in his cell by himself, and Randall's been having fun with him. So Randall apparently was able to postpone his hanging for the next day in order that he might be able to spend some time with him, because he's like, you're my fave. I love you. But he doesn't. So it's bad. So she goes and gets to him, and he's got his hands smashed with hammers, like, you know, it's like a messy pulp, and he's like half dying, and she's just like, I can't get your lock off. This sucks. And he's like, use the hammer, ho. And she's like, I'm gonna try. Meanwhile, let's have a chat. Let's talk. Let's catch up. And it's like, bitch, you gotta get out of there. She spends a lot of time talking. If she had just hurried up, everything would have been fine. But of course, it couldn't be fine. It couldn't be fine. You know why? Because Diana needs to call her freaking dad instead of writing stuff like this. She needs to call her dad and heal something in her. Anyway, Randall comes in, and Jamie ends up having to fight one-handed with Randall's big goon guy. And he knocks Randall out. Now he's fighting the goon, and her standing there watching all of this happen. She has a knife. She has access to a hammer. She's capable of doing literally anything to Randall. She doesn't do anything. He gets up and he puts a knife to her throat, and she's just like, like, what? I thought you just killed a guy that tried to rape you, and now you're just gonna act like you're just so emotionally overcome with I don't know what. Like, chick, this is why y'all wasn't independent, okay? You weren't independent in the 45s when you was running around with your husband, and you ain't independent now. Stop it. Pisses me off. Jamie makes a deal with Randall. He's like, let her go. Because Randall's like, I'm gonna let my gigantic goon have fun with your wife. He's like, I don't like that idea. Why don't you have me? I'm gonna die tomorrow anyway. I don't care what happens to me until then, as long as she's safe. So how about this? You want me, and I'm not resist you no more. I'm gonna let you do whatever you want to do to me, and I will not fight you on it. Whatever. And that engages Randall's little psychopathic heart, and he's like, yeah, I'm gonna take her out. I'll let her go. I'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. And he hammers his hand into a table, like with a nail. He's like, bing. All right, you ain't going nowhere. I'll be right back. So he takes her, and he goes to take her outside the castle or the prison. And on the way, she's like, hey, I am a witch. I am a witch, and I'm gonna curse you with knowledge. Randall says his middle name. She says she's like, born on this date at this hour, and you will die on this date at this hour. And Randall's just like, get the hell out of here. Bye. And it clearly messed his head up, but he was also like, it's not going to change anything. I'm still going to go and destroy your dude. So she's outside the castle. She ends up, like, where she left is where they dump all the bodies from the hung people, which is where you would expect a lot of predators and scavengers to be. And that's what she runs into, and she fights a wolf, and it's pretty cool, actually. She fights a lone wolf that's kind of not very strong, but huge, and then she kills it with her bare hands. Again, where's that knife that was in your waist? Like, you had a knife all this time, and then Jenny gave her a knife before she dipped out, and it's like, where is it? Like, what? what was the point of all that knife training? I don't know. Anyway, so she kills the wolf, and then a bunch of other wolves show up, and then this guy comes and saves her. She's independent enough. And then the guy that saves her takes her to his daddy, who has they find out that everybody's interrelated. They find out by way of her offering her pearls to him that she got on her wedding day. And he's like, these are the pearls that I gave Jamie's mother. Are you saying that Jamie's mother, that this is Jamie's mother's son? Because, yeah, I feel like I should help now. And then, dude, people are like driving crazy today. I don't know what's going on. Makes me feel like I'm home in California. They use the cows to go in. So she knows how to get in now, and she knows where Jamie is. So she gets the cows that they were wrestling up. That's how the guy came across her. And they put the cows in the prison to just cause mayhem and chaos. Also, while she was looking for Jamie, she opened up a bunch of cells. So a bunch of people are all... It's a mess. The prison's losing its mind. The inmates have taken over the asylum. So in all the chaos, they're able to get Jamie out. And then she goes and does what she can to heal him and to fix his hand and, like, you know, set the bones and do all of that. And when she gets him, like, he is jacked up, like, all over. And she's like, I don't want him to confess to me what happened to him. I don't want to be the one he confesses to. And then she goes into, like, this whole thing about, like, how as a nurse, as a medic, she would deal with the heroes. And she was like, you could tell every now and then you'll come across a hero. And it's one of these, the way she describes it, it's a boy or a man who takes the pain with very little complaint, very little tears. He doesn't open up. He doesn't react to anyone. He just shuts himself down, and he's kind of like lost his soul a little bit. And she knows how to bring him back. She's like, there's different ways to do it. Like, you know, some of them, they need to talk, and you just talk to them. And then some of them, they need you to listen, and you listen. And then some of them, they just need physical touch, like you come by and you squeeze their arm every now and then type of thing. And she's like, I don't want to do that with Jamie because I don't want to know what happened. And it's like, all right. It's just funny, you know, like, he got raped and it's a big deal, but okay, anyway, he was fine. Okay, anyway, I'm sorry. Boy, this one is rough. So they end up in an abbey. They leave there. It's a big deal. She kills a guy, whatever. They end up in an abbey, and this guy's like, he's on death's door, and she's just having all these philosophical debates with people. She meets this priest who's like, are you a Catholic? And she's like, technically, but my dad's agnostic. And it's like, bitch, go and tend to your freaking husband. I don't know, but whatever. She reads Job, and it's kind of interesting because she finds verses that are about, she's trying to find guidance for how to get back to Jamie because he's mentally lost from her, and that's why he's dying. It's not because of his wounds, it's because of his mind. And the scent of lavender tips him off, like, you know, it makes him like triggered or whatever because that's what Randall uses a lot. So he wants to die, and he's kind of like being like, y'all should just let me like die. And also, Claire, I told Murda everything, and he's gonna take you to the stones. I need you to go with him and go to the stones and go back to your husband. I'm done. Leave me. I can't do this anymore. And she's like, nah, that's not gonna work for me. I'm all the way in this. And that, at this point, I'm like, I get it. All right, you really fully committed. At least you got that. So she gains insight in the church, which is the point of the entire philosophical debate, is just so she could be somewhere and gain insight. She's like, I need to go where he went. Like, I need to go into the darkness with him. And she gets him to open up a little bit, and he tells her a very graphic account of what Randall did to him. And he didn't just rape him. He'd torture him, and then he would do stuff to him and then try to excite him and elicit a romantic or sexual response from him, and then he would torture him again. And all the while, he would be talking about Claire. He would be talking like he was jealous of her. Like, I bet she can't get you to do this. I bet she can't do that. And then he would be like, think of Claire. Just think of Claire. Don't stop thinking of Claire. Until he associated Claire with the shame and the humiliation that comes with something like this. So he now is like the one human being on the planet that I am so bonded with, that I love the most, blah, 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 blah. I can't touch her. I can't stand to be seen near her. I can't stand for her to look at me. And he's like, I don't know how to come back from that. And she's like, I don't know how to come back from that either. Like, that sucks. I can't do nothing with you. And then he starts to get a fever, and she goes into all the ways that they have to treat fevers back then, because, like, you can't just let the fever run its course because you will die, but you also need to heat up whatever part of the body is infected so that what the fever's trying to do. It's interesting. I never thought of it that way. Like, when somebody has a fever, and if it's caused by a wound, you'd put the hottest water you can have the person stand on the wound. So it was his hand. She put his hand in like near boiling water to kill whatever bacteria it was, so that what the fever was trying to do would be done, so that the fever could. It was cool. Anyway, that was interesting. Didn't know about that. I always wondered why our bodies try to kill us. They administer his last rites, and he is just waiting for death. He's like happy now. He's like, I'm gonna finally die, thank God. And she's like, nah, I'm a mess with you. So, because he's in a fevered state, she starts doing stuff. She does, like, there's a certain way that she strokes his back that only she does, so she does that, and it makes him happy. And then she does something that Randall did, that she knows that Randall would do, and she speaks with kind of a Randall-like voice. And then, like, she's like, makes him taste blood, and just does everything she can do to trigger a psychotic break. I don't understand. I just don't get it. I just don't get it. But it's fine. He wakes up, but he's not awake. He thinks he's still back where, yeah. So he's starting to beat. He wakes up and just clocks her. And he's throwing her around the room, and she's bobbing and weaving and just trying not to get put out. And he's, the very first, it's just so funny. He yeets her. He picks her up by her collar and just goes, yeet, and throws her across the freaking, and she just goes like bunk on the wall, and she's asleep, and she wakes up and he's choking her, and she wakes up and he's choking her, and she wakes up. I'm not supposed to laugh at that, but it was funny. And all of that, she was also trying to get him to sweat by physical exertion, and that would help his body purge, or I don't really know. I don't care. And then they decide to go to France. I'm done. Okay, so first of all, there's a lot of shame in this book, like personal crosses that people bear with each character, and it makes them act in a way that otherwise is selfish, and it bothers me. It really gets on, I don't know. First, oh yeah, you know why he went to prison? Because she couldn't stop meddling with that little boy's life. He's getting his butt beat by his daddy. That's fine. She had to go get Jamie involved. The whole thing's a mess. Anyway, they handled it different in the movie, and it made more sense. But there was a lot of other stuff that was stupid in the movie, so it's just like, I don't know. This is where I stopped wanting to watch the series, and I'm just gonna keep reading the books, because the series, it gets so stupid. But like, and she's like this simpering, like, thank you for trusting me. Thank you for having faith in me. With everyone she meets, it's like she has to form this deep connection with everyone. You know how exhausting it is to go to Walmart with someone like that? I don't know. That's why I'm just done. It's Dr. Quinn medicine woman. That's what she is now. After this part of the movie, that's what she becomes. It's so stupid and frustrating. She has to like go and like help save these poor peasant people from different nations, whatever. But like, my point about the shame thing, okay, so she be feeling shame, and then she'll withhold herself, or she'll withhold knowledge, or she'll withhold crucial information from the people that she's interacting with, like Jamie, the people that deserve her to be honest with them. And she'll be like, I can't tell him because it's shameful. And it's like, no. If you really are ashamed, like if you really hate yourself, like if you really, like, I don't know, it's like, then you shouldn't be so full of yourself to think that you have the right to withhold this stuff from people. You should just be blatant and open and honest, because who cares what people think about you? You deserve the pain, right? So take it. It's just this weird... I've dealt with people that play the shame game. I don't have time for it. You know how much more energy it takes to hate yourself than to love yourself? Or to just accept yourself? Like, I don't love myself or hate myself. I'm nobody. I'm fine. I just out here living my life, walking around. My body's shaped like a body. My hair looks like hair. I have a face. I don't think anything positive or negative about myself, and I'm so freaking relaxed now. But for somebody to sit there and devote the amount of time that these people in this novel devote to self-hatred, self-criticism, or in her case, self-adoration, it's really frustrating, because it's like they're worshiping themselves. And you know, it makes me even more mad when they hate themselves, because at least if you love yourself, that makes sense. Like Dougal loves himself. He has shame and he feels it, but he doesn't live it, and he doesn't allow it to control what he does. He is willing to do anything he has to do and take any licking he has to take in order to get the job done. I value that. But then you got somebody like Jamie who's walking around crying about his sister, and it's like blaming himself, and it's like, who is that helping? It's not helping you. It's not helping your sister. It's certainly not helping anybody that's influenced by Randall. It's not helping your wife. It ain't helping nobody. You didn't go home all this time. She had to figure out how to run your freaking family since the age of, like, I don't know, what was it? She was 10 years old when she learned to run the whole little community. And now she's doing it by herself as a bastard, like raising bastards and stuff. That's what you think is going on, and you're just gonna let it happen because you're too ashamed to show up? Man, screw you. I don't like Jamie. I don't like him at all. I don't like him. I really don't. I don't even feel bad for him. I don't. He does this to himself. It's so freaking annoying. He deserves the wife he has. He does. That is the perfect wife. All the hell that she brings him, and all of it, he deserves it. Because this boy is so freaking self-hating and self-involved and self-important that he's just creating his own hell. And then making other people pay attention to him while he suffers. It's like, it's not just enough for you to be like, I'm sad. You also have to be like, everyone, do you see? You see? I'm sad. I'm so sad. I'm sad. I'm sad, guys. That's what my dog does when she wants the food I'm eating, but she can't have it. She goes and sits in a corner that she can see me and I can see her, and then she mopes. And she'll sit there and just melt into the floor, looking at me, but not looking at me, but looking at me. I hate people like that. Like, that is the most exhausting personality type. Like, I don't care what you've been through. I really don't. Like, I do care. I had to stop myself. I do care what you've been through. I really do. It's valid. It's valuable. But there's a phase of grief that is so self-centered, and it's exhausting. It's like, I don't know. I'm like the kind of person where somebody will like hurt themselves, and I'll be like, can you stop hurting yourself, because it makes me have to do stuff to make you feel better, and I wish you would just not be hurt at all. to stop hurting yourself. I don't even have, because when I hurt myself, I just roll my eyes and I just move on. It's like, I've got how many fingers I almost lost already, and I went back to work. But it's like, I don't know. I just don't see the point of letting yourself dwell in the misery. But I guess it makes for good storytelling or something. I don't freaking know. It's stupid. It's just stupid. And I don't understand the purpose of the rape thing. Like, this author glances over all these other rape stuff that happens to the women in the story. But Jamie's one is a big one. It matters. And I don't get that. Like, why is... He's like Lestat. Remember from Queen of the Damned, Lestat, the whining, measly crybaby? And like, you know, damn, Aaliyah was good in that. I miss her. She was her. But no, it's like this male protagonist that's just walking around so sad and miserable all the freaking time, to the point where it's like trying to be with a person like that, trying to make that person happy, is like dropping a freaking teardrop in the ocean. Like, you're not going to make any difference to a person like that. They are in love with their own misery. You're never going to make anything out of that. There's nothing, you can't grow anything there. What can you grow? Just more misery. It's stupid and it's annoying. I don't know. This book got me messed up. And it's Valentine's Day. I just read, oh, you know what? It's the day after Valentine's Day. I need some cheap chocolate. I'm going to go to Dollar General or Walmart or something and get myself some discount chocolate. But, I don't know. I'll tell you what, this book got me into some Scottish stuff, though. Like, I'm really getting into the Scottish Celtic, apparently, or the Scottish Gaelic stuff. Like, I've been listening to debates in Gaelic that it's like, I barely know it, but I feel like I can understand the language. I feel like it'll be a very easy language to transition from English to Gaelic. I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. Okay, so for example, for learning Chinese, I know I'm supposed to call it Mandarin, but guess what? The people that were Chinese, that were teaching me Chinese, called it Chinese, so I'm calling it Chinese. They speak in a way where, all right, if I say hello, and if I say hello, and if I say hello, those three things can mean three completely different concepts based on where you put the accent, where you raise the voice. It's a song. I gave up. They know what I'm trying to say, but, you know, it's like impossible. You say it with this accent and it's like, oh, it's a cloudy day today. You say it with this accent and it's like, oh, we have a new pope. But there's some languages where it's like that. Spanish is not like that at all, although they do have accents that, you know, dolor versus dollar, stuff like that. They do mean, you know, but with Gaelic, that's the thing. Spanish, I'm sorry, I'm going in a bunch of different circles. I'm trying to think of how to explain why I feel like Gaelic is something that I can learn. Learning Spanish is difficult because when people speak it back to me, or Portuguese and they speak it back to me, it all runs in one solid word, it sounds like. It's just one long, you know, the sentence structure, the words mesh together so fast, and you can't tell where one word ends and one other begins. And their accents, the Chinese accents, make it impossible because you'll think you're understanding what someone is saying, and you're not, because your ear isn't honed to the way that their accents work. But with Gaelic, I can tell when a word begins and ends. I can tell where a sentence begins and ends, and I can tell, I don't know, I can understand the emotion behind the things that are being said. Like with Spanish, like I'll hear them say stuff that's like the worst thing I've ever heard someone say in my life, and they're just like, la verga. And I'm like, what? Yeah, it's confusing. Listen to Mexican people's freaking music. They're like da 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 with the freaking polka and stuff, and it's cartel music about beheading people, but it sounds happy. It sounds like it's a freaking happy birthday song. You don't know. But anyway, I'm going off. I'm on a tangent. I'm on a roll. But I don't know. Outlander, I'm not sorry that I spoiled a bunch of things. I'm not. Dougal dies. Fuck it. I'm sorry. That's the books are better than the series. I'm finally with it now. I fully am convinced that the books are better than the series. So there's that. But I feel like everything that I love about this book could have consistently existed without her having to add a bunch of crappy characters. Like, she just made... It's like, nobody's allowed to be happy. Anyway, I don't know. I'm sorry. This was a weird video. This was weird. I wasn't really ready to do it. I just, like, got in the car and started talking. And I don't know. It's a wild ride. But, alright, y'all. Yeah, keep it chugglin'. Have a good one. Bye.